as everybody who's been on previously knows, I am very into the care economy and how we think about caring for those outside of ourselves. And so we are really excited to welcome Paul Jones, who's the owner of the Care Concierge of New England, here for our final full virtual startup story. And really looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Paul will be interviewed by Mark. So we're looking forward to that as well. Thank you so much.
So good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me. My name is Paul Jones, and I'm the owner of Care Concierge in New England. And that's an organization that started here in Rhode Island with the focus on helping seniors and their families navigate all of the different care options that are out there. Typically, that's assisted living and memory care and nursing homes. But the concierge concept goes further than that to help families navigate questions about things like home modification, home care, how to stay independent in their homes if they're not ready to make a move. And more than anything, how to afford what care has become for people as they try to age in place, be it in their homes or in a community setting. It's become very expensive. It's become very confusing for families to try to figure out what's going to be the best option for themselves and their families. And so I started this business after working in the senior care field for 10 years. I was an Alzheimer's care director. I worked in sales, and then I was an executive director, and I wanted to strike out on my own and see what I could do to help people on my terms. And so that is what I've been doing.
You're based in North Smithfield. What is your reach? You just
So I am based in North Smithfield. I do cover the entire state of Rhode Island. I cover most of the counties in Massachusetts, and I cover all of Connecticut right up to the New York border.
That's good. And I know that there is a lot of different care services available. How do you differentiate who needs what?
Yeah, great question. So I will sit down with my families when they give me a call or they otherwise are introduced to me. And the introductions happen pretty organically. I work with a lot of social workers and discharge planners, but also just people in the community who happen to either know somebody who's a client of theirs or who has a family member of their own who is in need. I'll sit down with these families because I really want to know what it is that they are looking for, what it is they need, what's going to help them achieve their best quality of life. And that's what I built my company on, is the idea of giving everyone the best quality of life and the ability to age in place once they've found that quality of life. And so it's very important for me to have a personal touch with my clients. And I'll sit down with my families and I'll do what's called a deep discovery into what it is they need. So we talk about their financial reality. We talk about the location they desire. Most of us are Rhode Islanders on this call. And so I can tell you, I've got families who won't travel from North Kingstown to South Kingstown. So I have to navigate that a little bit. But really, what's going to be critically important for these families? What are the care needs going to be? Right down to the really granular questions about what did you do growing up? What was your profession? What are the things that you love to do? Because so many people feel like getting older is about giving things up. And I want to show my families that getting older is more about engaging every day with as much life and vigor as you can.
That's good. So why Rhode Island?
Well, two reasons. One's simple, one's complicated. So the simple reason is that I live here. But the complicated reason is that I grew up in Massachusetts and I worked for most of my career in Massachusetts. And in that state, there's a heavy focus on services for seniors. In Rhode Island, there's not. That's not to say that Rhode Island doesn't have care for seniors, or that we don't see seniors as a group of people that need protection and care and help. But the types of safety net programs, the type of programs in general that you may find in other states haven't been present here in Rhode Island. And so I wanted to provide for the families here in this state first, an opportunity to reach out to somebody and get some help when just trying to search online isn't going to be good enough. Or, trying to figure things out on your own in the middle of a crisis isn't going to help you. So that is why I chose Rhode Island to start with. And since then I've expanded into Massachusetts and Connecticut.
And what local networks do you use or facilities that you partner with?
Well, so in the 3 states where I work, I have a network of properties, assisted living and memory care properties that I work with. It's just about 400 properties. Why that's important to have that type of network? That it's one thing just to say, oh, well, go and take a look at place A and place B and see what you think. But I make it a point, go to the facilities, go to the communities that I work with, because I want to make sure that these are the types of places that I would have my own family feel comfortable being in. Now, COVID made that very difficult. Luckily, I've been able to pick my spots and go and visit places recently. With the Delta variant coming in, I'm not sure how well that will be able to continue. But I've also taken the time throughout the pandemic and throughout the lockdown to make sure that I'm expanding my network to include professionals who may not be residential in nature, but who can still help people answer questions about insurance, especially Medicare, Medicaid professionals, elder law attorneys, real estate agents, and more.
And I noticed that today's pretty hot outside. One of the things that I understand that you do is respite care services. And what is it and why is it important, especially now?
So this is what I mean when I say that the types of programs that might be available, or at least information about the programs that might be available elsewhere, aren't as readily available in a state like Rhode Island. So today, the heat index is going to, today is mid-August, so you'd expect it to be hot. We're looking at almost 103, 104 in the heat index, how it's going to feel outside for people. Now, for your average 80-year-old grandparent, they're not picking up the air conditioner and putting that in the window yet. They're just trying to maintain. And they may not have nearby friends and family who can help them or who are checking on them. Whereas what a respite care opportunity or a trial care opportunity is for somebody who is maybe not ready to go into assisted living full-time, but they do want to take a look at what assisted living is all about. They would like to try things out on their own. And most importantly, for climate like this right now, be able to go someplace where they can stay cool, where they don't need to worry about moving their furniture. They just bring clothes, they bring what they like. And there's a whole team of people on site 24/7 who can help make sure that they're well. And it's not just care staff either. And that's a big misconception that people have about what assisted living is versus what nursing homes are, which makes sense. We don't talk as a culture a lot about aging in a positive way. And I think that we should do a better job at that, but we don't. So when you see assisted living communities on movies and TVs, they're not always presented in a light that's really favorable. And then a lot of families have only had experiences they've been aging with nursing homes anyway, because assisted living is a relatively new part of the industry. So they go, what the heck is this? So there's a lot of good reasons why I'm trying to help as many families as possible choose a respite stay right now. Non-permanent, it's a non-permanent residency. The apartments are already furnished when you go into it. It's an opportunity for you to stay cool and stay safe. You'll have a care team on site who can help you if you need it, but not forcing themselves on you. It's if you need it. Primary goal of an assisted living property is to provide people quality of life, and specifically life enrichment. A lot of these assisted living now, it's kind of like living on a cruise ship that never leaves land. It's very, very interesting the way that they've developed over the last 20 years. And so for people who go and give it a shot and even just tour the buildings to begin with, I had no idea it was anything like this. And so there's a lot of good reasons. There's a lot of good reasons why a respite is positive.
Good. And what would be a good referral for you moving forward, and how can people contact you or get in touch with you?
Any family who is thinking about making a transition into the senior care conversation in the next year is a good person for me to talk to, Because here's another thing, which I alluded to earlier. So many of the families I work with, they come to me in a time of crisis. All, hi, mom fell, she's in the hospital, they're saying she can't go home. What do we do? They handed us a piece of paper, there's 14 properties on it. We don't know where to start. If families reach out to me early, we can make a plan now. We can create your blueprint now, so that if you need to break glass in case of emergency, at least you know that we've already vetted properties. We've taken a look at different styles of care. We've taken a look at what's available, and we can move forward quickly, make sure that your quality of life is preserved. So any family who might be in that situation is a good referral for me. The best way to reach out is through my website. And I can share that screen real quick just so people can see it. Let me do that. It's careconciergene.com. All throughout this website, there are buttons all throughout that say speak to your concierge. And it explains a lot about what my process is like, where I cover different questions and answers about what senior care is and how we help. But even if this is too much for folks to take a look at right away, that's okay. Just click that button at the top, speak to your concierge, and it'll connect you to me. And if you have the time to take a look at this on the front page, it's very important. It gives people a good idea. All right, Paul, great. But my loved one, who knows? Do they need to look right now? Do they need to talk right now? Take a look at this checklist, see if your loved one or if you are checking off any of these boxes here, and then feel free to send me an email or give me a call. Talk a little bit more about the different options that we work with. So there's a lot of different ways for people to get involved with me, talk with me about what's out there. The easiest way, speak to your concierge. And that's me. I'm Paul Jones, the Care Concierge.
Thank you, Mark and Paul. That was fantastic. Paul, I do have one quick question for you. Do you also do follow-up visits? So if somebody's in care, you go and make sure that everything is right?
I do, and that's a great question. So I have a schedule of follow-ups, depending on the family. Some families, you know, they'll move their loved ones in. I'll check back a couple of times, and they'll go, you know what, we're good. But even right before this call, I had a 6-month check-in with a family who had a very difficult move process, you know, a lot of questions, a lot of stakeholders trying to figure out what was going to be the best fit for mom. We found a great fit. I checked in every week at first, and then today was my 6-month check-in. And so far, in the 2.5 years that I've been open, I have not had one client move their loved one due to dissatisfaction. So, you know, that's the benefit of taking my time and getting to know my clients and making sure that, you know, I take in the people I work with as if they're part of my own family, because I want them to have the same quality of life that I want for my own mom and dad.
This has been so enlightening. I'm so glad we got to have you on. And Mark, thank you for introducing Paul to us, because this has been really a help, like just an amazing experience.
Welcome.
Thank
you. You both. I am really excited to say, and kind of sad, that this was actually our final startup story in this format, but we are going to introduce a new format very soon. So if you are interested in being featured, or if you know of companies that should be featured as startup stories, please let us know, because I have some exciting news on that front that we'll introduce next week.